Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Coming to Africa, Malawi election results have been delayed after an injunction over alleged irregularities. Final results of Malawi's presidential elections will be delayed. The Electoral Commission said on Saturday, after the High Court ordered a review of the polls following opposition allegations of tampering. Presidential results have been withheld until we resolve the issue of the court injunction which we have received. We are dealing with all complaints. Ethiopian ethnic violence has forced almost 3 people to flee their homes. In total, nearly 3 million displaced by December 2018, more than those dislodged in Syria, Yemen, Somalia, and Afghanistan combined. There's a concern that the country is on a negative trajectory due to entrenched elite disagreement over what sort of federation Ethiopia should be and how to share power. Unless there's some sort of agreement on a common vision for Ethiopia, there's a danger that the turmoil continues and possibly gets much worse. Sudan's de facto leader Abdel Fattah Burhan met with the Egyptian President al-Sisi in Cairo and then went to meet with the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. And as I wrote in August last year, Gulf countries who see the Horn of Africa as their hinterland are all jostling for optimal geo-economic positioning. Outstanding story in the BBC, Azateng was on the run, secret spectacles, the story of a migrant spy. After 2 days, the bus arrived in Gao, the gateway to the Sahara. Somebody switched on a small Bluetooth speaker and the migrant sang and danced to pop music. Different languages and dialects rang out over the din, French, Bambara, Mandingo, Twi. As the convoy hit the open desert, excitement rippled through the truck. Better read it in full. The Sentry has put out via the Enough Project a report called Covert Capital about the DR Congo. It would have been hard to understand the significance of Kwanza Capital just by looking at the company's headquarters in a commercial garage in Kinshasa's business district. No sign marked its presence. There was nothing to indicate the company was shuffling over $100 million through accounts held at a bank linked to the family of Joseph Kabila. Nor would onlookers have had reason to suspect that the company was controlled by members of Congo's First Family and its close allies. Incredible detail. Sud Oil's articles of incorporation indicate that the company's headquarters were in the same garage where Kwanza Capital's offices would also be based. Then there's a bank called BGFI Bank DRC, a subsidiary of Gabon-headquartered BGFI Bank Group. Between 2013 and 2017, members of the family and its allies made 2 attempts to acquire a majority stake in BCDC, one of Congo's largest commercial banks, majority owned by the Belgian-origin Forest family, which has held a large stake in the bank for over a decade and owned roughly 67% of its shares at the end of 2017. The patriarch of the family, George Forest, whose wealth Forbes estimated at $800 million, oversees a vast commercial empire operating in mining and other sectors. Congolese government has also held a stake in BCDC since the mid-60s, which was around 26% in 2017. Expansive network of correspondent relationships with banks in the US and Europe, and is listed on the Brussels Stock Exchange. Kabila family and its allies, operating through an intermediary, first made Forrest an offer for $50 million in 2013 for his family's shares. Forrest reportedly declined because he found the offer insufficient and significantly could not verify that the source of the funds was legitimate. Well worth reading, it's rather good. It is an easy leap of faith to see Cyril Ramaphosa's presidential inauguration as a made-for-television force multiplier for his national and international audiences. Of course, most of South Africa's governmental royalty were in attendance as well. In fact, taken as a whole, the day's events had a distinctly semiotic texture, what with all the potent signs, allegories, metaphors, and some serious symbolism going on all around the stadium. The brighter day is rising upon Africa. Already I seem to see her chains dissolved, her desert plains red with harvest, her Abyssinia and her Zululand, the seats of science and religion, reflecting the glory of the rising sun from the spires of their churches and universities, her Congo and her Gambia whitened with commerce, her crowded cities sending forth the hum of business, and all her sons and daughters employed in advancing the victories of peace, greater and more abiding than the spoils of war, he said. Yet his words could be stirring, but for any specifics of the how or the what, Ramaphosa's nation will still need to wait until later on for all the vital corroborative detail. S&P keeps South Africa in junk status, sees post-election reforms. Fitch also has South Africa junk. Moody's doesn't. South African all shares up 3.2% this year. Dollar Rand 1440.75, and we'll get caught in that China EM frontier markets negative feedback loop I've spoken about. Dollar versus Egyptian pound 16.85. Egyptian stock market up 7.26% year to date. Nigerian all share down 1.75% year to date. Ghana Stock Exchange down 1.71% year to date. A lowball proposal by parent Barrick Gold to buy out Acacia Mining is an appropriate and elegant solution to a 2-year dispute, says Barrick Gold. Acacia has been at odds with Tanzania's government since July 2017, when the state handed the London-listed gold producer a $190 billion tax bill, saying it falsely declared bullion exports. Chart of the week. This is interesting. This is from the World Bank. Electricity consumption in Kenya outpacing most other sub-Saharan African countries. Board of Kenya Airways has accepted the resignation for personal reasons of KQ's CEO and Group Managing Director Sebastian Mikosh. Kenya Airways has slumped 59.21% so far this year. Nairobi all shares up 4.29% this year. The NSE 20 is down 6.6% this year. The Nairobi all share trades on a PE ratio of 11.25. About 25.3% of the tea offered for sale was withdrawn, marking it the highest withdrawal this year, as the price per kilo dropped from 220 shillings to 212. Thank you kindly for stopping by.